Welcome back to Tasty Tuesday. Today we are going to do a Zuppa Toscana. This is a soup I found when I was working at the casino and our guests absolutely loved it. And if you have a sausage that you can tolerate from the store, feel free to use that. You can just skip ahead to where I am chopping up onions, but I don't tolerate pork, so I am using beef, and then I am just adding seasoning to taste. And in all honesty, I tend to I tend to season to smell. So, just kind of after a while, sprinkle of this and a pinch of that type of situation. Do what you like, and I am sure it will turn out fine. Feel free to cook from frozen too if you need to. You don't see me putting in other salt because I am using celery salt. This has been like huge for me lately. I don't know why. I do know that celery is good for detoxing the liver, so maybe that's it. I've been working on that. Do realize that the spice in this dish comes from the sausage, so if you want a spicier soup, use a spicier sausage, or make sure that you add more in terms of the crushed red pepper and peppers. If you are sensitive to nightshades, obviously omit that. I'm kind of wondering if you could substitute in something like horseradish or cilantro if you tolerate that. I don't know. Anyway, 3 to 4 potatoes. This will be pressurized, which is why I can do the potatoes. Otherwise, they are a lectin issue, but I find that 4 minutes in the Instant Pot is sufficient to denature those lectins. And I do use a yellow potato because it stands up to the Instant Pot, whereas something like a russet will basically make mashed potatoes. Now, I am using probably close to 2 cups of kale for this. Use less if your family is not a fan of kale, but if you can do kale, it is loaded with vitamins and minerals and even protein. For the broth, I actually used a powdered bouillon and 4 cups of filtered water. Make sure that it is gluten-free if you are going the bouillon route, and make sure that it doesn't have moisture in it. So like the cakes and things that have moisture to hold them together, those will actually still develop histamine. Now, I did add 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, another antihistamine type component there that also adds a ton of flavor, and a crank or 2 of pepper. Now, while I pressurize that for 4 minutes on high, I am going to make a slurry. I needed 1 cup of heavy whipping cream and then 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder as a thickener and enough cream to just, make a slurry. You definitely want to get all the lumps out and then stir continuously while you stir that in. And I haven't made a slurry with cream before. That got way thicker than I would like it to. Feel free to use milk or water if that is preferable. And you can also use a different thickener as well. I just find that arrowroot powder works well for us. And then stir it up real well, and you are good to go on this. Supper's ready.